Hey there friends, how's it going? I'm Austin, and the big question everyone wants to know is which Battle Royale is the best. With Warzone amassing millions of players over the past week, the obvious comparison is going to be to Fortnite, because Fortnite is the biggest Battle Royale and it's been the biggest game for about 3 years now. So it's Warzone versus Fortnite, and I'm going to be breaking down this fight into 11 different aspects of each game and directly compare them to see where each game shines and which game wins the fight to be the top Battle Royale out. And Fortnite's gunplay can feel imprecise, and it makes it feel like spray and pray is a viable tactic, while in actuality this isn't the best tactic. It can work. They've added weapons like the minigun and Mythic Tommy gun, among others, where you can just point and shoot, and you can win most of your gunfights even against better players. Then Fortnite's had the issue for months that they aren't correcting, where snipers and shotguns will shoot blank rounds, meaning you hit your shot but get no damage. This can be the best or worst feeling depending on if it happened to you or your enemy. And I have yet to hear anyone say that the FPS mechanics are better in Fortnite than Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Call of Duty has always been known for having some of the best mechanics in the industry. Gunplay in Warzone is excellent. It feels precise and smooth. And there's a reasonable skill curve in Warzone, unlike Fortnite, where they focus on building as the main skill curve, because they added Bloom to lower the skill gap with gunplay and to make worse players have a better chance in engagements. And Modern Warfare feels great every second you're playing it. In Fortnite, you can be revived, but if you're capped, all you can do is wait until someone picks up your reboot card and brings it to a van and brings you back into the match. That's not bad because it keeps people engaged even after their life has ended and stops them from leaving the game in hopes that they can get back into the game. However, Call of Duty does something much more interesting when you die in Warzone. You go to the Gulag, where you 1v1 for a single round to see who gets back into the game, and you drop right back onto the map. This is a way for people who feel their deaths were unfair to get a chance to get themselves back into the game rather than relying on a teammate to do it for them. This keeps everyone on the squad engaged because you know your teammate might be right back. When you spawn in the Gulag, you can watch other 1v1s while you're waiting for your turn. Sometimes you even get to be in there with your teammates, and you can help them by letting them know where the enemy is. And this is a way for you to help your teammates while you're down. Some people may not like this, but in Fortnite sometimes you drop somewhere that's too hot and you get down and capped instantly in the match. Then you have to wait for your teammates to hopefully get you. This can make you feel like you've wasted your time. The Gulag helps take away that concern. Fortnite feels like a different match every single time you jump out of the battle bus. This is due to a multitude of factors. First, the loot variation is vast from chests, with the type of weapons you can get, the different healables, and the lethal and tactical equipment. Every game you play will most likely be with a different setup. Then on top of that, you'll be landing in unique locations, and every location in Fortnite is distinct and you can't mistake it for another. And then of course the building aspect in Fortnite is going to make every engagement feel different. With Warzone, the loot pull from chests right now is very limited, with only a handful of weapons that you can get off the start, such as the SCAR, M13, and MG34 to name a few. Then you can only get one type of armor, and there's a few different lethal and tactical grenades. But Warzone is a game that centers around loadout drops. As soon as you get enough money, you buy a loadout drop for 6,000 and you get one of your custom classes. This makes it so every game you're using the same loadout by endgame. And then the different locations all blur together in this game. They aren't distinct. It's hard to tell one from another. It doesn't matter if you land airport or military. It's going to feel very similar. Warzone and Fortnite zones work similarly while being completely different. In both games, the zone progressively becomes smaller and smaller over the course of the game to push the action closer together. But how they affect players is drastically different. In Fortnite, the beginning zones only tick for 1 damage a second and progressively hit for more damage. This means in Fortnite, it's very common for players to be fighting in the zone and coming out of the storm very late at the beginning parts of the game. This makes players have to worry about players coming from out of the zone to attack them. However, in Warzone, the zone hits for the same amount of damage the entire game, and it hits hard. The zone will knock you out in approximately 10 seconds unless you have a gas mask, which would about double the time it takes to knock you. This means players rarely fight in the zones unless they absolutely must, and no one comes out of the storm late because they're already done. This helps the pace of the game. With Call of Duty's vast map, it's much larger than Fortnite's map, so it really is important to push the action closer together. And the main issue with the zone in Call of Duty is that if you're stuck in a building, below a mountain, or a giant building is in the way, there's no way for you to escape the zone. And in Fortnite, you could just break through that building or build up a mountain. Fortnite and Warzone have extremely different endgames. Fortnite endgame is generally much less hectic because of a few factors. First, there's 50 less players in the game to begin with. Then there are fewer buildings, aka hiding areas, leading to fewer players being alive at the end. And you generally only have 1 to 2 teams left, and you can build cover to protect yourself, making it much easier to win the game. Warzone is much different because there's typically still 20 people alive at the end, in very confined spaces because of the circle getting smaller and smaller, but you still have a substantial amount of players, making it have insanely high action. This can be extremely fun if you play it right. You have to be aware of your surroundings in Warzone and use natural cover to your advantage. And you gotta make your shots count. This is where the gunplay really shines. Winning in Warzone is more satisfying currently. Fortnite and Warzone are both free-to-play games, and they both have a battle pass where the content is all cosmetic only, except for, I guess Call of Duty does have a couple weapons you can get in there, but they're free to unlock for everyone, so no advantages there. Fortnite Daily Shop is the same way with just skins, emotes, and weapon wraps. However, with Warzone being centered around custom loadouts, the players who own Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer have a clear advantage because they paid for the game. They already have leveled up their weapons and have custom classes with whatever attachments, perks, and equipment they want. The free-to-play players can only level up the weapons that come out of the loot, which is few. And the weapons that come out of the chests in Warzone are way inferior to the custom loadouts that people can make, so Warzone does have pay-to-win elements. Fortnite's main skill gap comes from building. Whether you can do 90s, take high ground, or edit, all of these are key features to be good at Fortnite. Then it's also important to have in-game awareness and know what play to make. While it's important to have high ground, it's not always the best play to go for it. So you have to know when to take advantage of that and when not to. All of these are skills that you can acquire in the game. And gunplay is also important, but Bloom nerfs the skill gap of all fully auto weapons in Fortnite. Epic has made it clear that they want to lower the skill gap from adding Bloom to adding all these bad additions in Fortnite, like Brutes from Season 10. Thankfully they're out, so I can't knock Fortnite for that now, but they've added in bots, another drastic and poor addition that's still in the game. Whereas Warzone emphasizes the skill gap through weapons, knowledge, positioning, and decision making. I already went over gunplay earlier, so I'll just make it brief by saying it's important on how you use your weapons. Knowledge is key with setting up your classes, the most important part of giving yourself an advantage in Warzone. Then without building, it requires more skill to get around the map without being vulnerable to being shot. Then lastly, the Gulag system rewards the more skilled players who can win 1v1s with random weapons rather than their preferred classes. Fortnite has been one of the top games for 3 years now, and the top overall game for most of that span. This is because of its ever-changing map, content updates, and limited time modes to name a few things. Fortnite does a great job of trying to keep their game fresh. Another thing that they do a great job of is live events and crossover events, such as their Avengers and Star Wars events in-game, and dropping skins from those two franchises. Their live events have always gone along with a story that they've been telling over the current season, making small changes to the map to keep people intrigued. They then have done a fantastic job of getting their game as trending on social media, anywhere from the Fortnite blackout for a couple days Even if they do things that aren't good, they always make sure their game is trending and that it isn't in the backdrop or in the shadow of any other game. Now, Warzone is an excellent game in capturing people's attention now, but can they maintain that? That's the big question. This Battle Royale is Fortnite's biggest competitor yet. Call of Duty will not be able to update their game as much because they aren't in beta, meaning it is a slower and more difficult process to get their updates approved and put into the game. That is one of Fortnite's biggest advantages over all of its competitors. And I have high hopes for Warzone, but with a new Call of Duty dropping every year, I can't see it outlasting what Fortnite has already done. Fortnite versus Warzone aesthetics are vastly different and target different visual stimuli. Fortnite is more cartoony and colorful, while Warzone is set in more realism and muted tones. Everyone will have their preferred visual between these two, but I'm going to dive deeper into the other visual customization for this one. Both games have weapon camos or wraps to style your guns in whatever way you want. In Call of Duty, you unlock these through challenges, whereas in Fortnite, you typically buy them or they're within the Battle Pass. Then, Fortnite also allows you to customize your vehicles with paint. Both games then also have custom skins or characters, but with Fortnite being third person, the skins are much more integral to the gaming experience, which is why it has many more options and ways to customize them to make every player unique with on the battlefield. I'm sure Call of Duty is going to add characters and customization because they can make money off of it, but for now, Fortnite is doing better. A big part of every Battle Royale is how quickly you can move around the map, and a big feature of movement is vehicles. Fortnite currently has helicopters and motorboats, while Warzone has helicopters and varying types of cars. The vehicles, however, work completely differently apart from they help you travel around the map. In Fortnite, the vehicles do not automatically knock people if they hit them, which I think is a good thing. But Fortnite's helicopter, when it's destroyed, does not allow you to glide out of it, so if you're not over water, you're gonna lose. Whereas in Warzone, the vehicles immediately knock the player even if they are only going 2 miles an hour, which can be frustrating. You don't want to be caught in the open next to a vehicle. But Call of Duty's helicopter is where it shines, because you can parachute out, and vehicles are a much bigger emphasis and more integral in Warzone due to the map being larger and no way to traverse mountains or buildings quickly without helicopters or cars. Fortnite has been known for having the best competitive scene ever in gaming, the most watched and the biggest events ever. If you just look at how popular Arenas mode is in Fortnite, you can see what a big deal competitive is even to the casual fan. It was made so hugely popular because Fortnite held many tournaments before the World Cup to qualify and gave out cash prizes. Then the World Cup itself expanded esports even outside of the gaming community. I don't know if any game can ever reach the heights of Fortnite's competitive scene because it allows players and non-organizations to compete, where games like Call of Duty Warzone, you have to be a part of an organization such as FaZe to compete. It's yet to be seen what Warzone does in competitive. They've already held a 50K tournament for charity, but it's just the first step among many to try and follow Fortnite's steps. Going into this video, I had no idea which game was going to come out on top, and Fortnite won by a narrow margin, but Warzone did a really good job battling it, and it just came out, and it has so many ways it can improve, and maybe one day we'll overtake Fortnite, maybe not, but either way, we've got a new game that's good. So I'm happy, I hope you guys are all happy, and if you guys disagree with any of my takes, let me know in the comments section below. Or if you agree with them, let me know too. That's always positive to hear that kind of feedback. But this video took a lot of effort and time, so if you guys enjoyed it, I really hope you liked the video. And if you really liked it, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe for some more content like this. And if not, it was nice having you guys here, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.